Now, I think that we could all agree here that The View is by far the worst program on live television as a morning show via ABC / the Walt Disney Company, and how it's all being mishandled by Disney CEO Bob Iger. And again, we all have to actually look at Bob Iger because he is the source as to why The View remains on live television. He actually uses it as a program full of political talking heads, there's no doubt about that, and so on and so forth. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, ever since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we have seen many of those in the media saying obvious lies and mocking Charlie Kirk, attacking him after his death, even going after his wife Erica Kirk and making lies about her. And you also have a lot of those coming out of Hollywood. People like Alec Baldwin, George Clooney, people like Mark Hamill, Stephen King. I mean, the list goes on and on about those that were using the entire assassination as a way to politicize it, to really just drag Trump back into the overall message. Now, what's interesting here has a lot more to do with what Bob Iger, the Disney Board of Directors, and many executives representing the Walt Disney Company recently did with the program known as The View. Let's get into this. Now, we know that they actually did go on multiple talking points about the Charlie Kirk situation. We all saw what Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Whoopi Goldberg tried to do by politicizing the Charlie Kirk scenario, both on air and off air. We talked about what happened off air with their attempt to create a viral social media campaign about the Charlie Kirk assassination and tying it to the Trump administration. And before that went live, Disney intervened. What's interesting, though, here is that with everything coming in between is that with the assassination of Charlie Kirk obviously causing so many in the country to come together and to lend their support to his friends and family, unfortunately, yes, you do have a lot of those using this as a way to politicize it, and how it is having a major impact on the film industry as well as the music industry after many of those representing them said awful things about Charlie Kirk. Now, one significant development now involves more to do with The View via ABC and Disney, and what just happened after Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, and Sunny Hostin especially made several Charlie Kirk-related comments both on air and off air. It turns out that the Disney Board of Directors, including Bob Iger as the CEO, recently held an emergency meeting / call in regards to both the Jimmy Kimmel Live show, showing a major ratings drop, and The View, as well after the Charlie Kirk-related comments. This meeting was specifically catered, however, mainly toward The View, however, where the majority of the board, including Bob Iger, decided to come to terms with a bold action to draw back on a whopping $7 million actual reduction in funds toward the budget of The View for the remainder of 2025 and the entire 2026 year, which will show an additional $2 million reduction in the show's budget. Now, this is said to also, get this, lead to the hosts of The View dealing with a significant pay cut to their annual salary, and Sunny Hostin is said to be hit the hardest with the latest decision by Bob Iger in order to please shareholders. This comes shortly after many shareholders expressed disgust with The View and how they already attempted to politicize the Charlie Kirk assassination, with Sunny Hostin's salary in the range of $1.6 million to $2 million a year for the show. Disney has decided to actually downgrade her payout from a whopping $300,000, and that will actually be a reduction as a result. As for Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg, the metrics of their pay cuts are still in active discussion. This is a major sign that The View could be facing a cancellation by the 2027 year. Now, the Disney company and the board, including Bob Iger, all decided to come up with a plan to also change the set of The View that would be more cost-effective for the next 2 years, and downgraded equipment for the show starting at the very beginning of 2026. Those like Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, and Whoopi Goldberg were made fully aware about this $10 million budget reduction for The View, where the show lost millions of dollars in funds, and how it's eating into the hosts of The View's annual salary. This also comes shortly after The View host got caught attempting to create a viral social media campaign video politicizing the Charlie Kirk assassination by going on a Trump rant and dragging Charlie's name into the middle of it all. Already Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny are challenging the Disney Board of Directors, ABC executives, and producers, as well as Disney CEO Bob Iger, to reverse this action immediately. Now, let me just say one thing about this real quick. Now, We all know that Joy, Whoopi, and Sunny, and so many others that have been on The View for the past several years, they are very narcissistic individuals. They are very self-absorbed. They don't care about what others have to say. They only care about themselves. And that's just typical Disney, right? We've seen this happen with Jimmy Kimmel as well, where basically he refused to actually say the words, "I'm sorry." We did not get a real full apology on his return episode. That's pretty much, a fact. Now, when you're looking at everything related to this in isolation, the fact that Disney is actually reducing The View's budget by millions, we're talking like very close to $10 million, $7 million for this year, another $2 million for next year, altogether, very close there, and we all know at the same exact time that this is eating into the salaries of the hosts of The View. And Sunny Hostin, like I pointed out before, is going to get hit the hardest because she obviously did the most damage. She obviously did the most damage to the company's image, whatever image is left, by the way. However, it also comes just after Trump announced his plans for a 100% tariff on foreign-made films, which could have been a factor into this decision to save on funds for their company. Sunny Hostin is said to be livid over Bob Iger's call as well. Now, look, we know that all the Marvel movies, moving forward, a lot of them, a majority of them, will indeed be filmed outside of the US. And Trump's 100% tariff on foreign-made films is going to be detrimental, alright? It's going to be a major impact on the Disney company, and if they don't decide to go back to the US to film primarily here, it's going to take a major hit on the Disney company. There's absolutely no doubt about it, and I can really see how Bob Iger's panicking about that. And look, I think that movies should be made here, but of course, movies can be made here and there, like little segments, outside of the US. The thing with Disney is that they're basically using this as a way to save on funds, to save money, right? That's why they mainly don't want to shoot in the US. In fact, there are parts of Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie, Brand New Day, parts of it are being shot outside the US to mimic New York City, alright? Again, we know that there's a lot of things going on right now, and whether or not this is going to have a major impact on their new Spider-Man film, that's up in the air. It will most certainly have an impact on Secret Wars if they continue to film it outside of the US. That's yet to be filmed, by the way. Doomsday is done, so that's pretty much out of the picture, unless there's going to be additional reshoots, which there may very well be, but again, The View, costing them millions upon millions of dollars over the years, and now they're actually slashing those funds, and it's eating into the salaries of the hosts of The View. That's going to total up to well over $1 million, there's no doubt about that. And we all know that there's a lot of things going on right now with Sunny Hostin, her husband, who actually is caught up on a lot of fraudulent issues, by the way. We'll talk more about that down the road. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about Bob Iger's call here, the Disney Board of Directors call, and everyone else, and exactly what you guys have to say about that, and everything else related to Bob Iger. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.